Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Stitches and Scribbles podcast. My name is Erin and I'm going to be talking to you about all of my crafty things today, so let's go ahead and dive in and get started. I do have a couple finished objects to show you. One of them is from my video from Wednesday where I did a crochet with me for my Renaissance Fair costume. I actually have it all hung on the same hanger, but I decided to crochet a bodice corset vest type thing. Gotta scoot it over so you can see a little better. To go with my Renaissance Fair costume. Usually when I go to Ren Fair, I go for kind of all black looks. That's what a lot of my previous Ren Fair costume pieces were. But this year I wanted to do something a little different, at least for one of the times I go. Right now I'm planning on going at least twice, if not 3 times, depending on if I can get another couple friends to go with me or not. But I wasn't feeling the all black for everything. I think I'm still going to do one of my old costumes for the weekend that I go with my sister-in-law, but for the weekend where I go with my big group of college friends, I was looking for something a little bit lighter. And I was really inspired by hobbits from Lord of the Rings. So I kind of looked at some of the costumes in the movie, but decided that I wanted to crochet something for it. So that's how I ended up making that crochet Ren Fair bodice. And I was really excited about it and really, really happy with how it turned out. It also ended up being my first TikTok video where I showed my face. Previously, both on this channel and on TikTok and Instagram, I did not show my face in any of my posts because up until mid-June I was still a teacher and I didn't want to risk my students finding any of my social media accounts and like knowing for sure that it was me. I'm sure in the future at some point one of them will stumble across it, but then they're not going to be my students anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But I thought that that was a good first appearance on TikTok with something that was a full costume and a much more like dramatic piece than just a hat or a scarf or some of the things that I typically make. So I was really, really excited about that. My second finished project is actually something that I originally saw on TikTok that went kind of viral in the crafting community last year into beginning of this year-ish, but it is the hooded scarf from Wickedly Handmade. It's called the Wild Oleander scarf, and this one I actually made as a Christmas present for a relative. I'm going to go ahead and put it on to show you what it looks like. It's very big and very warm and fuzzy. But when you wear it, it looks just like a really oversized bandana cowl. It does go down to a point in the front, but the cowl part is so big that you can actually also wear it as a hood. So since it gets pretty cold where I'm from in the person I'm gifting it to lives elsewhere in the Midwest, but in Wisconsin it gets pretty cold in the winter. So I thought that this would be a great gift for that person. She really likes fur detailing on things, so I added some fur yarn from Hobby Lobby. I believe the fur yarn is called Fur the Moment in the color mink, and the main color is what's it called? Big Twist yarn from Joanne in the color cream. I believe this was Big Twist Soft. I didn't realize that there were multiple Big Twist lines, but I believe this was Big Twist Soft in the color cream. To me it looks more like a tan or a beige. But really excited to have this done and to finally have made one of the Wild Oleander shawls from TikTok. I will link the Etsy listing for the pattern below. I did purchase it off of Etsy. I think it was like $4 or something for the pattern. Really well written pattern. Had no trouble at all following along with it, even though it had some new stitch techniques in there that I hadn't used before. But she has really great pictures showing exactly where to do each of the new stitches so that even if you're a beginner crocheter, you can very easily follow along with what she's doing. And that's super nice. That was the first Christmas present I believe that I have actually finished already this year. I do have a couple more on deck that I need to get started. I'm really trying this year to not overwhelm myself with crafts for the holidays, and so I'm spacing them out quite a bit. I already know that I will be making something for my sister-in-law as well as something for my father-in-law for Christmas. And I'm hoping to get a couple of other things in there too. One thing I'm really excited about that I just narrowed down the pattern that I want to use for it is I'm going to try knitting a bow tie for the first time this year. I'm hoping that my husband does not watch this video, but I don't think he would. He usually just likes to see what I'm crocheting in person instead of watching my videos back when he can just see what I've been working on. But he wears bow ties to work every Friday. It's something his family started to honor his grandfather when his grandfather passed away, because he was known for wearing lots of colorful bow ties. So they do Bow Tie Friday as a family, even though they all live in different states. They send each other selfies on Fridays, all wearing bow ties, which is super cute. So I decided I think I'm going to try to knit a bow tie for him for Christmas. And actually I can dig out the yarn that I'm going to use for it. Gotta move a couple things, of course. But we're going to have an avalanche here. That's okay. We'll just take it all down so that we can get to that one skein of yarn that is on the bottom. I think I want to use the Happy Sock yarn from Hobbii to make the bow tie, and this is in the, it's color number 6, but it's all blue and lime green. He wears a lot of shades of blue for his dress shirts, but last year for Christmas I got him a couple of green ones, so it should match almost everything in his closet, which will be nice. But I just thought that those would be really cute colors for a bow tie, and I think that's going to be a good Christmas gift. And it's something that fits in a stocking. My side of the family only does stockings for Christmas now. So everything that we get or make for each other has to be like really tiny so that it can fit in the stocking. And my mom especially like collects things throughout the whole year to put in our stockings. So half the time, even if we saw her purchase it, we don't remember it by the time we get to Christmas. So it's still a surprise, which is super exciting and super fun, and a great way to like not worry about getting one big gift for somebody for Christmas. I know I tend to have trouble like settling on one thing to get somebody for holidays. And sometimes it's even stressful to try to figure out like what that person would want or something that they don't already have. So I love the idea of just doing stockings where it's a bunch of little random things, because it's way easier and there's not as much pressure on like you have to find the one perfect gift for somebody. Like it's spread out over lots of little things where some of them are useful, some of them are goofy, but I really like that system. It's something that I would definitely be interested in doing with my own kids someday to kind of cut down on the pressure for finding a gift for the holidays, because it's way more fun to like every time you go to an event look for something little that you can save for stockings. So that'll be really exciting when we get to that point. Let's jump into whips. We might have to pause for a second because I think I can hear the garbage truck. So I'm going to pause the camera until the beeping sound goes away. All right, I think we're safe from the garbage truck now. It sounds like it rolled away, but usually it comes closer to noon and it's like 10 right now. So I'm kind of surprised that it showed up that early. Let's dive into whips. Oh, I have one more finished object to show you, although it's not knit or crochet. I've mentioned for a while that I wanted some progress keepers so that, especially with filming these weekly podcasts, I could see how much progress I had made on each project in a week, so that I could see like maybe which ones I needed to work on a little bit more, or just kind of to be able to see how much I'm getting done in a week. So I made myself some progress keepers with beads I purchased from Michaels. They are all little skull beads and they come in a whole bunch of different colors so that I can match them to my projects. I previously had a set of 2 that I made for myself that are just the white skulls in the slightly bigger size. I think I have one around here somewhere that I can show you. There we go. It's stuck to a project bin, but not actually on a project, so I should take it off anyway. There we go. So the other size bead is slightly bigger than the ones that I just showed you. If I hold them up next to each other, you can see that there's a slight size difference, not much. But I had 2 of these that I was using as actual stitch markers, not as progress keepers. But now this can also go on my progress keeper clip. This is just a big shawl pin that came with a set of crochet hooks, I believe. Sometimes they come in those like cheap packs of crochet hooks that you can get on Amazon. So I think that that's where this clip thing is from. But this week I can start putting them on my whips so that we can see next week how much progress I actually made. The first whip that I have, and I think the hook fell out of this one, so I'm going to have to be careful maneuvering it around. I might lose a stitch, that's okay. This is a rectangle shawl using peacock stitch. I don't know what's the best way to hold it so that you can see those stitches. Maybe just put it up close to the camera for a second. But these are peacock shell stitches, and this is actually the shawl that I am making for my sister-in-law for Christmas. Again, hoping that she doesn't watch it, but maybe I'll have to like text her a heads up about this video or like put it in the description, like, don't watch this please. We're going to give this one the white skull stitch marker because it'll show up nice against the black. I've been working on this one for a little while now, maybe a week or so, but I didn't make as much progress on it this week because I got distracted by other things, namely making the wild oleander scarf for my grandmother. That was not on the list of things that I wanted to do this week, but I was itching for a new project for some reason, so I just went ahead and did it for no reason. Got my little stitch marker hanging out there now, so next week we can see how many rows I actually get done on this project. For some reason, with these shells, I either do a whole bunch of it all at once, or I don't want to touch it because it's too complicated. I think because I need to count while working on it. Those little shells are 9 treble crochet stitches. I'm also not a huge fan of working in treble crochets, so I think that might be why I avoided it a little bit this week. The next whip to show you is one that I've definitely talked about in a video, and it's another scrap shawl. This one I don't think I worked on at all this week, so it's probably going to look the same as whatever it looked like the last time I showed it. Looks like the hook fell out of that one too. That's okay. But right now it is shades of pink and red. I also have some deeper reds and blacks to add to it, and I'm going to pop the red stitch marker onto that one so that then next week I can see how many rows I did, like that. I try to always have a scrap project going at any given time just because it's a nice way to use things up so they don't disappear into my scrap bin forever, never to see the light of day again. I kind of want to set some goals this year about using up yarn and stuff like that, so maybe I'll talk about that in the next video. But I know one of them is going to be to have a schedule to clear out my scrap bin, because I think there's scraps in there that like are definitely never going to be used. They're in like weird novelty yarn, or it was yarn that was gifted to me that I used for a project and never finished. So I think that's going to be one of the goals I set for myself, is something to do with clearing out the scrap bin every so often, because it does take up a lot of space. It's actually multiple scrap bins now. It's a set of little clear plastic drawers from like Target or something. They have a lot of them out right now in the like dorm room stuff section. But I have them sorted by color, so it's actually 4 drawers in one of those organizers that are just for scraps. So that doesn't seem like the best use of my storage space, especially if I ever do want to open an Etsy store with like physical products, not just patterns. That would be a much better inventory storage place than like scrap yarn storage place. So I'm gonna have to figure that out and maybe set some goals about using up yarn and whether or not I keep it. But on to the next whip. This one also you probably won't see that much progress very frequently, because this is the one that I tend to take for times where I know that I will be crocheting outside. And the reason for that is because it's in a really lightweight cotton yarn. But this is what I have so far. It is a little Tunisian honeycomb stitch triangle shawl. I posted a picture of it on Instagram a couple days ago if you saw that, because I was crocheting by the pool. But it is made in the Yarn Bee Rainbow Rhapsody in the color Ivy League. It's a ombre yarn cake. But I kind of reserve this one for times where I know I'm going to be crocheting outside or need to take it with me somewhere, because the whole project is really lightweight and it's all in one yarn. I don't need to juggle multiple colors or extra hooks, needles, anything like that. So it's just a really convenient project for on the go and also outside, because I don't get too hot with yarn like this sitting on my lap. I'm going to give that one the blue Progress Keeper. There we go. And now it looks like that with a little charm on them. I think these Progress Keepers are so cute. I'm really happy that I made those. Next whip, I got so excited about my grandmother's wild oleander shawl that I immediately had to start making myself one this morning. So mine is in black Feels Like Butter yarn from Lion Brand. I had 4 skeins of this sitting around knowing that I wanted to make myself a shawl of some sort, because I love this yarn. I wear a lot of black, but it took me a long time to settle on what shawl design I wanted, because I do have a lot of triangle shawls. So I knew I wanted something slightly different. So the hooded scarf was the perfect project for that. I'm going to do this one with an orange stitch marker so that it looks kind of Halloween themed. Is anyone else as excited for Halloween as I am? I'm very happy that stores have started putting out the Halloween stuff. Got a little spooky orange stitch marker there. That's fun. Yeah, I'm really excited about Halloween starting and all that stuff. I really love both Halloween and Christmas seasons, but for me, Halloween is more like a fun, like, stress reliever holiday, if that makes sense. Like, it's usually something where I do more stuff with friends, and I love costumes and all of the, like, fun spooky things that go with it. I love true crime. I used to really like scary movies. I haven't been into them as much. I like a good, like, ghost story or, like, murder mystery type of thing, but I've been steering away from, like, actual horror movies, especially during shutdown last year. I kind of just didn't really want to be in that headspace while I was, like, working from home and not seeing anybody. So I've been leaning away from those recently. But I love spooky stuff. So I'm really excited to have some of that coming back and to hopefully have a, like, sort of normal Halloween this year. Fingers crossed and all that. Because it'd be really nice to do, like, have neighborhood kids trick or treat like normal and all that stuff again. Although last year because I live in an apartment building, so we don't have trick or treating, but I went to my parents' house and their neighborhood did socially distanced trick or treating, which I think everybody actually preferred. So it might be something that happens again this year. But what they had everybody do was put all the candy out on, like, picnic tables or card tables in their front yard so that the kids could, like, pick from the table instead of, like, reaching into a bucket. But a lot of people were just, like, sitting out in their yard on lawn chairs or had bonfires going, which was really super fun. So I kind of liked that vibe instead of, like, constantly having to answer the door. It was nice to kind of just, like, sit outside and look at all the costumes and everybody walking by. So I kind of hope that we actually do that again, because that was fun. Those are all of my whips to show you, so I'm going to put away my stitch markers. If you see me, like, reaching over to this side, I actually have a cart now for my whips. It's one of those, like, craft carts that you see at Michael's and everything. So I just have all of my little bins for my whips on the 3 tiers and my tallest whip bin on the top. But then it has like little compartments where I can put all my stitch markers and any scissors and stuff that I might be using. So it's been kind of nice. It also helps me to be able to see all the things I'm working on at once, because then they don't like disappear into the back of my brain. Anyway, I have some yarn to show you. This is the last batch of the giant yarn haul that I got in like end of May, early June, where school was letting out and I was frustrated and there were a lot of really good yarn sales. So this is the last batch of that, and it's all of my random ones that didn't fit in another category. So there's some stuff from a bunch of different stores in here. Let's start off with actually Amazon. So I'm going to take this out of the crinkly bag because the crinkly bag is going to drive me absolutely nuts. Okay, so I don't really do a lot with Amazon Prime Day, but this year for Prime Day, I decided like, hey, let's just see if there's any yarn under the Prime deals. I wasn't expecting a lot, but there actually was one that I was interested in. This is Golo wool yarn in color number 5. A lot of the information on here is not in English, so I actually have no clue what the yardage is. And it says to hand wash it and not to use chlorine on it, but it doesn't say the yardage. It does say it is wool, so I think it's 100% wool, but it's a really nice, probably like, that's probably even a 1 weight yarn. It's pretty thin. You can see it right there. But it's shades of blues and greens in a wider stripe. So I got 2 of those. This actually also would be cute as bow tie yarn, but I'm worried that you wouldn't see all of the colors if you made a little tiny bow tie with this. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it was really cheap on Prime Day. So I went ahead and got it, and that was my only Prime Day purchase, funny enough. So I'm excited to try this. I have a feeling I'll never be able to find it again because it was from Amazon, but it's fun for a little project or something. What else do I have? Oh, up next I went to St. Vincent de Paul with my family, which is a thrift store kind of like Goodwill. I find that it's a little better organized than Goodwill, but it didn't have as much craft stuff. But I did manage to find 3 balls of Loops and Threads Wool-like, and this is, oh, that one has the color name covered. This is in the color Rose. So I got 3 of these. It is a really nice soft pinky purple color, and it's really soft. Like, I'm very excited to use this for something. That was a pretty good find. They ended up being $2.50 a piece, which I think normally it's like $6 or $7 for each one, so that ended up being a pretty good deal. St. Vincent de Paul is not as cheap as Goodwill is from what I've seen, but I think that they filter out some of this stuff a little bit better than Goodwill does. Goodwill definitely has some stuff in their craft supply that like probably should have just been thrown out, but I was really happy to find all 3 of those. That was exciting. Up next, I think all of the yarn in this bag is from Michaels. Yes, that is what it looks like. So the first thing I got was 2 skeins of the Bernat Bundle Up in the color Nighttime. I should hold it right way up. It's like a smoky purplish gray color. This feels exactly like the Lion brand feels like Butter yarn, like almost identical. It's maybe a hair thicker than the Feels Like Butter yarn, but love this color. We'll probably also be making something for myself with it because this is very much in my usual color palette that I like to wear. And I did get 2 of those, so there's the other one. And I think I got those because Michaels had it on clearance, so I don't know if that means it's disappearing or Michaels won't carry it anymore. The other one I got on clearance is the Red Heart It's a Wrap Rainbow. I got 2 of these. This one is in the color Whisper, which is a like plummy purple, a sage green, a gray, and a pastel pink. This was on clearance, I want to say for like $2, and it's normally like 10 because there's quite a bit of yardage in here. It's a fine weight number 2 and it has 623 yards. It's one of the like types of yarn where you're supposed to be able to make a whole shawl with just one of them. So I thought that would be good for prayer shawls or things like that. And I also got it in the color Couture, which is a beige, a like purplish gray, a teal, a darker gray, and black. So I like these colors a lot as well. That was an exciting find. Last bag is actually from a local yarn store, not in my neighborhood. It's actually in East Troy, Wisconsin. I was going out there with my parents for something else, and the store is called Linda's Yarn. But she had some hand dye yarn on display. So this is the Heritage Silk Paints Heritage Silk Paints by Cascade Yarns. Does it say the color name on here? Maybe it doesn't say color names. Yeah, it looks like these colors don't have names, at least not that I can see. Maybe they did in store and I just missed it. Either way, it's from Cascade Yarns. This is the first colorway that I got. It is mostly white with blue, dark green, and a light kind of caramely brown color. Thought this was really pretty. It's really soft. This is, what's the fiber on here? Superwash Merino Wool and Silk Blend. Really pretty colorway. I really like these colors. I kind of wish it had less of the white in it. I would have liked more color saturation, but still very pretty. And I got it in one other colorway, but it's the exact same yarn. So this one is, again, that white base, but it has purple, a like really deep teal, green, and some like pinkish magenta shades. This one kind of was giving me like Maleficent or Ursula vibes from the Little Mermaid and Sleeping Beauty, like Disney villain colors. Which I really like. And I usually don't go for purple, so I was kind of excited that I found a purple that I really liked. That's it for projects, yarn haul, and everything today. I don't think I have any fun questions for you guys to answer today. Not that I usually get comments on my videos. It happens very rarely. But I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope that you got some inspiration for crafting. I will have another video out next week. Hopefully another Ren Fair video. If not that, I have like a backup idea in mind. I try to stage out my videos so that I don't have like super huge projects every week that take forever. I try to like space out the big projects so that I have time to film. So it could be one of 2 videos coming out next week. But hopefully it's the other Ren Fair item because I'm really excited about it. And I always have podcasts come out on Fridays. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you want to stay even more up to date because it's faster and easier to post to those 2 sites. I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone!